you want to hear some music? You'd like that, wouldn't you? Well, today you're going to get all the music you want.
The request lines are now open. KGFJ Soul Radio.
Do it now, man. Do it now.
Request lines are up.
It's open, man.
Got any Blue Oyster Cult?
No, I don't have any Blue Oyster Cult. I ate 34 pairs last time around. Where were you? I was that close to working at 7-Eleven, you know.
Pass the word along. Tell the men it's time to shoot the moon.
Shoot the moon!
Not out there on the microphone. On the microphone.
Shoot the moon. Shoot the moon.
The attitude dictates that you don't care whether she comes, stays, lays, or prays. I mean, whatever happens, your toes are still tapping.
Hey, Strawberry! Oh, Strawberry. Hey, what's happening, man? How you doing? This is my friend.
Hey, how you doing, man?
What you looking at, man?
Oh, nothing. I wasn't looking. I wasn't looking at his neck, man.
Can you honestly tell me that you forgot the magnetism of Robin Zander or the charisma of Rick Nielsen?
That's kid stuff.
Kid stuff. Well, how about the tunes? I want you to want me. The Dream Police. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Build your muscles picking strawberries. You know, bend and scoop. Maybe I could get you a job with United Fruit. I got a buddy with United Fruit. Start with strawberries, you might work your way up to these goddamn bananas. When, boy, are you gonna get your act together?
We're creating a society of cell phone crazed, marijuana smoking zombies.
Coming to you not quite live from Lukewarm Tallboy Studios deep in the land of Gar, this is Bend and Scoop, the podcast featuring music, mirth, and minutia, focused on exposing artists you probably haven't heard, but should. I'm Bob, and I'll be your tour guide on this amazingly asymmetric auditory adventure as we journey to the center of your cochlea. Welcome to episode 19. Hey 19, that's Aretha Franklin, and this is Bend and Scoop. Joining us at the end of the show for our Groovin' After Party will be our very special guest Eddie from the BAYK podcast, who will be sharing his own personal musical journey with us while playing a round of Is That Your Vinyl Answer? We spread the gospel of vinyl here at Bend and Scoop, so be sure to tell us all about your favorite neighborhood record store by posting to @BenScoop on Twitter or Instagram using the hashtag SpinMomandPop. Our record store of the week is Red Cat Records in Vancouver, British Columbia, a favorite of our aforementioned guest Eddie. You can follow Red Cat Records on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Red Cat Records, or you can check out their website at redcat.ca. Let's start things off with a killer track off the brand new self-titled album by Caved Mountains from right here in Dallas, whose members include my good pal and noted author Eric Grubbs. Here's Odd Odyssey on Bend and Scoop.
Woke up in a dream.
could you ever survive. Only in time could you ever survive. Only in time could you ever survive. Only in time could you ever survive. Survive. You are wrong. See you when you're home.
KFRC.
Infinite time is not even. The race is like you're not leaving. Dreaming answers will not work here. Power over people is based on fear. I cannot save you. I can't even save myself. 'Cause we're running out of wishes. With a wish that wished itself. No, I cannot save you. I can't even save myself. 'Cause we're running out of wishes. With a wish that wished itself. Infinite time is not real. Assimilate, absorb, feel. Reproduction leaves destruction. Ignore warnings, obstruction. I cannot save you. I can't even save myself. 'Cause we're running out of wishes. With a wish that wished itself. No, I cannot save you. I can't even save myself. 'Cause we're running out of wishes. With a wish that wished itself. Infinite time is deceiving. It's just something you're perceiving. Reality waves goodbye. Disintegrate your mind's eye. I cannot save you. I can't even save myself. 'Cause we're running out of wishes. With a wish that wished itself. No, I cannot save you. I can't even save myself. 'Cause we're running out of wishes. With a wish that wished itself.
That's The Wish, off the new album Cult Casual by Manchester, England's Heavy Salad. Just a quick reminder about a new podcast I've started called Assume the Juxtaposition, where you're the host and I'm the guest. If you want to host an episode, drop me a line at lukewarmtallboy@gmail.com. The fourth episode is hosted by Jason Aguirre and touches on a variety of topics, including best bands from each decade. And we just posted our fifth episode featuring David Miller talking about the hilarious new show on Apple Plus, Ted Lasso. So check it out on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You can follow Assume the Juxtaposition on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at AssumeTJPod. Up next from Minneapolis is Night Moves, who are actually not a Bob Seger cover band. With this groovy tune from 2019's Can You Really Find Me? This is Strands Align. on Bend and Scoop.
I'm just somebody who got caught in the game. I do believe that it's taken some time. Slow chances when slid on by. Oh, way out that I couldn't decide. Straight as a line, stand in line to be there with you, slowly flying. I'm just another who got caught in the game. Like everyone, shedding skins again. So long, rocks that looked like clouds. Those stakes had chances of killing me and taking my own pride. In that moment that I'm bound to lose, I couldn't lie on a line like you. Straight to line, stand in line to be there with you, slowly blind to see my love need company line. Straight to line, stand in line.
In the past year, over 800,000 Americans have died. Despite millions of dollars of research, death continues to be our nation's #1 killer. Hello, I'm Henry Gibson, speaking to you on behalf of the United Appeal for the Dead. Although so far there is no known treatment for death's crippling effects, still everyone can acquaint himself with the 3 early warning signs of death. 1, rigor mortis. 2, a rotting smell. 3, occasional drowsiness. It is also important to know what to do when you die. 1, do not attempt to drive a car. 2, do not operate heavy machinery. 3rd, do not talk. Your past contributions to this cause have already worked wonders. Many deserving families have been helped. Right now, I'd like you to meet the Hefstetters.
3 years ago, our Johnny died. We thought that there was no hope, but then we discovered the United Appeal for the Dead. They showed us that despite Johnny's handicap, he could still be a useful member of our family and the community. Our United Appeal for the Dead caseworker showed us that the absence of life from Johnny's body didn't have to mean his absence from our daily lives. We realized the constant joy that could be ours as we were able to include him in our family activities. The United Appeal for the Dead turned misery into happiness. We have them to thank for our family's newfound togetherness.
This is Henry Gibson saying, please give generously when death knocks at your door.
Had a visit with the doctor to fix my baby. He told me it was likely
The name of that band is Office, with Had a Visit off their album A Night at the Ritz from back in 2007. Don't forget to check out our Bend and Scoop Spotify playlist, where you can hear that one and 197 of the 209 songs we've played on all 19 of our episodes so far. Make searching for that disappeared dozen a fun online quest. Now this one will get your head bobbing and your toes tapping. From Milwaukee, here's Phylums from 2015's Phylum Phyloid with Crummy Side of Town on Bend and Scoop. Austin's own Orville Bateman Neely III and his eponymous band OBN3s with Parasites off 2014's Third Time to Harm. If you like what you hear on Bend and Scoop, please subscribe, rate, and review us at Apple Podcast or wherever you get your podcast. We genuinely value your feedback, folks. My buddy Wally over at The Beautiful Music tipped me off to these guys who just released their first album in 30 years, In Search of the Family Gradunza. Here's DC's The DuPont Circles with Everywhere Girl on Bend and Scoop.
It's 18 minutes after the hour and time for our daily feature of debate, Count Pointer Count. Once again, here are John Fitzsimmons and Sheila Hamilton.
Well, Sheila, I guess even you and your liberal cronies have found the light at the end of the tunnel of love with our beloved president. The intellectuals have been much agitated, and now, having gotten the presidency by exploiting the problems they themselves had manufactured, he has done his best to fuel their anxieties about him. Sheila, will you and your pack of bleeding heart liberals never learn that expanding welfare rolls only accelerate inflation and inevitably hurt most those they purport to help?
Why, John, you old stick in the mud. I've been listening to that horse shit of yours for months, and you can take that crap and blow it out your ass.
And now it's time for our daily feature, the Astrological Report. A quick reminder, these reports are not intended to foster a belief in astrology, but merely to support people who cannot take responsibility for their own lives. Joyce?
If you're a Libra and you've been hesitant about making that big purchase, hold off for another couple of days. Don't forget, your moon is in Sagittarius, not the time for reckless spending. You Virgos can expect an untimely death or perhaps a tragic dismemberment for someone very close to you. Pisces, It's a good time to pull the plug on that machine that's been keeping your daughter alive for the past 6 months. If you're a Taurus, see your florist.
From all the way back in the year 2000. Off his album Barbarians, that's Sydney, Australia's Richard Davies with Great Republic. Don't forget to stick around for the end of the show when our special guest Eddie from the BAYK podcast joins us for our Groovin' After Party. You know it's a great name for a band? The Nude Party. And so is the title of their new album, Midnight Manor. Sounds like a place that requires you to say Fidelio to get in. Here's Easier Said Than Done on Bend and Scoop.
Big and a lonesome place, you know it's rare to find a friendly face. Everybody got the tail to chase, or some time that they plan to waste. Out blazing in the sun, I try to take some different road. Where I'm bound, I can only hope that it'll lead me through a foreign land where I can't cool my heels under sacred sand and reach out to the kingdom. But that's easier said than done, not to burn your tongue on the that they've had their fun. 'Cause it's easier said than done not to burn your tongue on the rising sun. It's easier said than done. You're gonna run, run, run for all of your life. Well, if you wanna play in a rock and roll band, sha-la-la, you really better understand that it's easier said than done not to burn your tongue on the rising sun. It's easier said than done. You're gonna run, 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 run for all of your life.
Rock's True Colors, Thunder from the Depths. Purple, Saturday, April 6th. Richie Blackmore, Ian Gillan, Roger Glover, John Lord, Ian Pace, Deep Purple. The storm reignites. Tickets at Vancouver Ticket Center and all its outlets at the Coliseum on the day of show only. Saturday, April 6th. Destiny brought them together again. Deep Purple.
Put your hands up, let them down. Don't we all feel so much smarter having played a part in this? It's a nice hat, it's a crown.
quiet company there from 2015's Transgressor with The Most Dangerous Game, which may or may not be nude hacky sack. You know, everything's tastier when it's dipped in batter, even celluloid, so who's got a hankering for a Kentucky Fried Movie?
Award-winning motion picture producer Samuel L. Bronkowitz.
I have spent a lifetime in the motion picture industry. Now, after 50 years in Hollywood, I have finally produced what I feel is the finest motion picture ever made. I have called it the Kentucky Fried Movie. The Kentucky Fried Movie heralds the return to traditional values.
I'm not wearing any pants. Film at 11.
It is a film of heartfelt passion, a great love story.
Oh, take me to the drive-in. Prove you love me.
It explores the subtle nuances of interpersonal relationships. Of course, there are occasional moments of comic relief. The Kentucky Fried Movie is a film that demands the greatest performances from the finest actors of the cinema.
Hey, look, Wally. Wally.
I tell you, this building is unsafe.
City's in flames! The National Guard is powerless to deal with the situation. Governor, what are we going to do?
An anticipated 10% price hike across the board on petroleum products.
I invite every man, woman, and child to share with me the joy and warmth of the Kentucky Fried Movie. It will knock your socks off.
Breaking out is never easy.
people listen to people. So listen, people.
Welcome to the Groovin' After Party. Come on in and pour yourself a cold one.
All right, joining us in our Groovin' After Party here on Bend and Scoop, a very special guest all the way from Vancouver, BC, by way of Ireland. We have Eddie from the BAYK podcast. Thanks for being here, Eddie.
Man, it is the greatest pleasure to be here. Genuinely, I'm so buzzed, man. I want to say I absolutely love your show. I'm so sorry, I'm going to go off on a tangent immediately here.
Please do.
I just wanted to say, man, do you ever get when you stumble across one of those pieces of media that just absolutely nails it for you, man? That's what your show is for me musically. I swear to God, man, you are just everything that I love, you are just on the money with. I was so buzzed whenever you invited me to be on here. Thank you so much.
Well, man, I'm glad you enjoy it. Like I said, I explained to some of my other guests that the whole reason I'm doing this, I'm a bit older. I'm in my I'm almost mid 50s. I'll be 54 next week. And
you're looking good, man.
Oh, thanks. So most of my friends, and a lot of my friends are younger than me, maybe 10 years younger than me, but they're stuck in that rut where they haven't listened to anything new past like the 90s. They're just in like that classic rock loop.
Man.
So I'm trying to expand their musical horizons. And so now that there's not really mixed CDs or mixed tapes anymore, this is the best I could do. It's like, all right, I'll just make a podcast and put the songs I like on it, and we'll see how it goes.
Dude, and your format as well, I have so much appreciation for it. It's broken up beautifully with the sound bites, and whenever you do actually give a little bit of insight into who these artists are as well, it's just, I really enjoy it and appreciate it, and it's like, it's so funny, man. It's my new favorite thing to listen to whenever I'm working too. I have the pleasure of working in a job where I can plug in a pair of headphones, and just kind of do my own thing and listen. And like this is my go-to from here on. So.
Oh gosh, man, I got to tell you, this has made the whole thing worthwhile. I mean, even if nobody else listens, I made a legitimate connection with one person.
I swear to God, man. I swear to God. It was just the most amazing coincidence. It was just amazing that, yeah.
Well, I was talking to another guest I had on and was explaining that, because he had talked about some cassettes that he still has. I said, well, the only cassettes I still have are the mixtapes that I used to make, but if you go back and listen to them, it's almost the same thing. I would put audio clips in those as well and give them stupid catchphrase titles or whatever. So I haven't outgrown that, even at this age, I'm still doing that same silliness.
Please don't change anything, man. I absolutely love it. I actually wanted to ask you, I'm sorry if I'm taking you away from what we're
No, this is
awesome.
Great.
Awesome. I wanted to ask you, have you ever DJ'd before, on radio stations, or do you currently?
No, I never have. It would have been nice if I'd have thought about it in college. I would have tried to do, the college DJ thing, but I was focused on journalism back then. So I worked on the school newspaper. It was more writing than vocals. And I've had people tell me I have that kind of a voice, but I don't hear it. I hate the sound of my own voice. So
we always do, man. Yeah. We always do whenever we hear it back. But just to give you that nice outside perspective, no, I love it, man. Seriously, I wouldn't change a thing.
Awesome. Well, thanks. I appreciate it, Eddie. Checks in the mail, buddy. I'll Venmo you. I'll PayPal you, whatever it takes. Zelle. We'll get it right over to you. Awesome. So listen, why don't we talk a little bit about your podcast? Tell us about BAYK and what you and Patty are doing over there.
Thanks, man. It started as like a little, it started as two daft Irish guys just keeping themselves entertained. And man, we just absolutely love it. We both have like a super keen interest in basically what life is going to look like in the next, 30 years, say. And I really feel like we're living in the future, man. We really are, life is changing at a dramatic pace. And it's just, we just wanted to kind of start a little podcast originally for ourselves. And then we once we started to put it out there and started to get some listeners, it was just such a buzz, man, you know. And there's such a beautiful community for podcasting as well on Twitter as well too, you know, as I'm sure you found yourself. So it really spurred us on to go. But yeah, basically what we like to talk about is big events of the past, and then also developments of the, as we say, of the world of tomorrow. So anything, you know, technological advancements, or basically space as well too. Excuse me. Space is a big one as well too. We both are very, very keen and interested in that. So we cover basically that.
Sounds like a lot of food for thought. Really good things to listen to and contemplate in these times, right?
Yeah, well, this is it, man. Exactly. And then we try and keep it light as well too, because we're at the end of the day, we're two complete idiots. So
Now, how long have you guys known each other? Were you like childhood buddies?
Man, not even. Me and Paddy met over here. It turned out we were born in the same hospital back home in Ireland 1 year apart. We had never met before in our life, and we met in a job over here in Canada, and we just completely hit it off, man. We hit it off. And so I've known him for 6 years now, but man, it's been a blast.
God, who would have thought the same hospital in Ireland? That is nuts. That is very nuts. It's so great.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's awesome. So how can folks follow the podcast on Twitter, Instagram? Where are you on social media?
Oh, you legend. We are predominantly on Twitter is our favorite. You know, that's the one that we are best connected with. So we're on there at BAYK_podcast on Twitter. And then we're also on Instagram at BAYK podcast as well too. And then we've got our email there as well too, if anyone ever wants to send us some hate mail. BAYKpodcast@hotmail.com.
That's awesome. And what are you guys, weekly, monthly, just kind of whenever you decide to record?
These days when we can, man. We were regimented for a good while there, and it went really well, and we used to do 2 episodes a week. But these days, man, Paddy's life has got a little bit hectic now with the family life, you know. And then I'm the same. I'm working a couple of jobs at the minute because Vancouver's not a cheap city to live in. So it's as and when we get a chance at the minute, you know.
Sure. Well, listen, I really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be here and chat with me for a few minutes. And what I want to do now is learn a little bit more about your own personal musical journey. Brilliant. And we're going to play a round of what we call, Is That Your Vinyl Answer? So awesome. Our first question here, what was the first record you remember ever buying? It could have been a vinyl, it could have been a CD, a cassette, whatever it is.
It was a CD, my friend, and it was actually Scatman John's Scatman. That was the first one I bought. Old 90s dance hit back then. And then which kind of that it gives an insight into my musical taste. I appreciate some electronic music, and then the first album I ever bought, which was very soon after that, was The Offspring's Americana.
Oh yes.
Yeah, man. So that was kind of my musical roots there. Electronic music on one hand, and then lots of nice alternative rock on the other side.
Now, do you remember where you bought either of those?
Oh my God, great question. In my hometown, it's a little town called Enniskillen, and it's back in the north of Ireland. Yeah, and then the store was called Woolworths whenever it was still open back home.
Oh, okay. Now, do you still have either of those?
Oh, definitely, man. Definitely. I have both of those CDs kicking about somewhere. The Offspring would be closer to hand than Scatman John.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, definitely, man. I absolutely do. Yeah.
I actually did at karaoke one time, probably a year and a half ago or so. I did Self-Esteem. Did not go well. Did not go.
such. It's okay because even the pure nature of that song, man, it's got that sloppy sort of feel to it, you know. So if you've got a few beers in you, you know,
that was the problem. Well. I was not drunk enough to pull that off. Yeah.
Oh man, that's the rule of thumb for me for karaoke.
Oh gosh, so awkward. Now, which band or artists' albums do you own the most?
Oh man, that's a great question. I would say that it's between David Bowie or Pink Floyd, probably.
Okay, great.
Those definitely between those two. Whenever I discovered each of those two artists, man, I just fell in love with them. And like Bowie is such a fantastic rabbit hole to disappear down because man, he just reinvented himself so many times. You know,
he really did.
Yeah,
he really did. So which Bowie album is your favorite, and Pink Floyd? Which is your favorite of those two artists?
Oh, I mean, I love these questions. Hands down, for David Bowie, it's "Let's Dance," which I believe was 1986. Yeah,
yes,
love
Stevie
it.
Ray Vaughan was on.
Yeah,
that.
exactly,
Phone,
man.
yeah.
Oh, I love that you know that. Yes, man, exactly. And like the cool thing was, I got into Stevie Ray Vaughan much later a few years later than Bowie. And like, the funny thing was, then when I went back and listened to the album, I was like, dude, I just recognize this guitar sound. I was like, this sounds so familiar. And then when I found that out, I was so buzzed, man. He's amazing. Such an amazing artist.
Oh yeah, he grew up probably less than 30 minutes from where this is, where my house is. Yeah, just down here in Dallas, just down the road. So
man,
yeah,
so much talent from About Your Parts as well too, though, man. So that's cool.
That's awesome. It's so awesome. What about Pink Floyd? What's your favorite Pink Floyd?
It's The Wall. I love The Wall, man.
Yeah.
It's just, there are so many there to choose from, there really are, but I just love the whole idea behind The Wall and the cinematic feel of it. And then it was brought to life for me. I saw Roger Waters perform in his tour of the Wall a few years ago there as well too, and God, man, it just really brought it back to me as well. And it's a spectacular thing to behold as well too, that concert.
Yeah, I can remember when that record came out. Would have been 79, and I was 13. So I was in, I guess, 7th or 8th grade. And I just remember coming back from a basketball game where all the team was in the back of the bus singing "We Don't Need No Education." That's like it was so big at that time. It was like the biggest song going. So
man, I'd say it was the nightmare of many a school teacher.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I just vividly remember that. It was awesome. So over the years, which album have you had to purchase the most, whether it's replacing worn out or stolen lost copies or just multiple formats? Which one have you bought the most?
I love this question too. For that one, you know what, man? For that one, that is between Weezer's Blue album, which I have bought a number of times for a gift for people, and I just loved it as well growing up. So I've bought myself.
I had not thought of that angle, but that's a really good angle, is the buying it as a gift.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. That definitely factors in. And then, probably on the same par as that would be the Pixies' Doolittle as well too.
I'm not making this up. The guy I just interviewed right before you gave Doolittle as his answer for that question. I'm not making that up. Totally.
Dude, it's such a good album, man. I'll never forget my first time listening to that. It was one of those moments, where it just, your mind is blown by these guys, what they came up with, It was just so unlike anything I had ever heard, Yeah, loved it.
Are you a fan of Frank Black's solo work with the Catholics and so forth?
You know what, man? I haven't explored it as much as I should have, and in fact, I'll take that on board actually as my next. Do you recommend it?
Yeah, definitely. I like the Pixies as well, but I think I might even skew a little bit more toward the solo Frank Black stuff.
Wow.
It's a little bit more in my wheelhouse, but
cool.
I love the Pixies too. Certainly not to diminish them, but
yeah, no, of course, cool. I love it. That'll be the next thing I look into.
He is one of those guys who is a volume shooter. So you're going to have, some albums are stronger than others, and you're going to every now and then encounter, kind of a curveball where it's like, I don't know what he's doing here, but stick with it. It's tough.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like he caught his finger in the jar of a door or something.
He's always,
is he singing or screaming?
Exactly, but he's always entertaining. Always, interesting.
Big time.
Very interesting. So, who among your friends and family would you say has the largest collection of vinyl?
A very, very dear friend of mine. This is an easy answer. A very dear friend of mine called John Ellis. He's a DJ back in Ireland, and he has one of those collections. Like one of the, I've always been slightly envious of this, but it's the back wall of an entire room, ceiling to floor, massive collection of vinyl. He must have hundreds, if not a couple of thousand records there. So yeah, that would be him.
Man, I envy that. I really regret. I used to have quite a bit of vinyl as a teenager, but then when CDs came out, it's like, oh, don't need these anymore.
Yeah, man, exactly. I know.
Why did I do that?
I know. And especially now that we can look back as well too and see how the tide turned, it's like vinyl is the prize thing now, and CDs are like, dime a dozen.
Yeah, definitely.
Nuts, man. Sorry, quick side note. Have you ever seen the movie High Fidelity?
Oh yeah, I've seen the
Cusack.
movie, and then also the TV show that was based on the movie that came out last year on Hulu. I saw that as
really?
well.
Did they make a TV show of it?
Yeah, and they
Cool.
flipped it where it was a female lead. Lenny Kravitz's daughter was the lead role. Yeah, it was good, but the movie's great too.
I love the movie, man, and you know what? That's like always a fantasy of mine, is to down the line build a record collection and just spend hours reorganizing it. Like he does not see, he goes autobiographical, and he puts the CDs in order of when he bought them in his life, and you're like, oh my god.
Yes.
Just music nerd porn.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. How much vinyl do you currently own, Eddie?
I'm afraid I only own about maybe 20 vinyl, just like a very small collection of them. Some of them that were gifted to me by my dad, and then just a few select ones that I went out because I just wanted to own that specific, format for a few artists. New Order being one of the most notable ones. I love owning New Order vinyl.
Are you hoping to expand your collection, or?
You know what, I am, man, but I don't know where I'm going to. What the next couple of years holds for me as far as where I'm living. It's like
Sure.
I love Vancouver, but I just recently got my residency here, so I'm finally free to move about for a while. I had to stay put for a while to get it, so now that I'm free to move, I kind of wouldn't mind traveling a little bit more. And just a large collection just isn't conducive to that at the minute.
Not very portable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. You can't really load up your vinyl in a hobo bindle over your shoulder.
Or I can sacrifice arriving on the plane with a bag of clothes and just have a nice creative vinyl instead,
Yes. Exactly. Absolutely. Now, on the occasion that you have either purchased or just gone to browse vinyl, what's your favorite record store? Do you have one there in Vancouver, or is there one back in Ireland that you love?
There's one on Main Street here in Vancouver called Red Cat Records, and it's just an awesome little store, man. Just one of those ones you could spend the whole day in. I absolutely love that store. And then a close second would be Zulu Records, which is in an area of Vancouver called Kitsilano as well too. And Zulu Records is that little bit more, sort of dingy vibe to it. There's leaks coming in the ceiling on rainy days and stuff like that too. But it's like, I love that too, man. Just a nice authentic place.
Definitely. So, anything else you want to, before we wrap up? Anything else you want to mention about BAYK? Promoting any of the upcoming episodes or anything, or?
Just bear with us. is the only thing I really would like to say. It's like, we've got a few episodes there recorded that I just need to edit now. That'll keep us ticking over until the next time that me and Patty get a chance to get together and record a few more sessions. But that's the only thing I think our fans really deserve by this stage. All 5 of them out there.
Well, hopefully we'll get you up to maybe 7 or 8 by after you've been on here.
I'm buzzed for that.
I should be able to add a 2 or 3, maybe 4. Probably good for that.
You know what, man? This was just so worth it for the absolute buzz to connect with someone like-minded, and I really can't emphasize it enough. And I'm sorry I keep going on about it, dude, but like,
no, please do.
You really have given me a lot, in like I say, just catering to my music taste, and just I love it, man. I absolutely love it. And what you were saying about your friends as well too, and that lack of new music coming in, I completely relate with that. And it's like a lot of these services that are online now, like Spotify and YouTube and stuff, whilst they are great and there's stuff out there, those algorithms can have a habit of just feeding you the same stuff, or just giving you a lot on repeat or whatever. There's so few outlets for fresh, completely new music like what you're providing, and man, that is so important and so golden. So I just wanted to say again, thank you so much, man. You've got a huge fan here.
You made my day, Eddie.
It's the truth.
I really appreciate it, buddy.
It's
Listen,
the truth.
Thanks so much. We gotta talk to you again soon. Hopefully, maybe we'll have Patty on one of these days as well.
Yes,
and I'm looking forward to hearing you guys again. So I'll be keeping an eye out. I'm subscribed, so I know as soon as you get a new one up, I'll be able to listen.
You're the best, my friend. Thank you so much.
You can follow Bend and Scoop on Twitter or Instagram at BendScoop, or go to our website at bendandscoop.com. Also part of the Lukewarm Tallboy Studios family are a couple of other podcasts. Assume the Juxtaposition, where you're the host and I'm the guest, can be followed on Twitter and Instagram at AssumeTJPod. And we've got a brand new podcast coming soon called Plausible Deniability, which can be found on Twitter and Instagram at PauseDeny. My co-host for that podcast will be none other than Millerman himself, David Miller. Just the two of us talking about whatever we want. So be sure and stay tuned for that. New episodes will be posted on the 1st of every month. So our debut episode will be coming up on November the 1st. And one other podcast that I'm involved with is How Many, where several of my friends, including Jesse, Jr., Gary, and Scott, and occasionally a guest co-host, discuss and debate all things pop culture, sports, TV, movies, music, you name it. You can follow on Twitter at How Many Podcast, or you can go to the website howmanypodcast.com.
Bye-bye, lard ass.
Bend and Scoop is a production of Lukewarm Tallboy Studios.